I'm just going to open a new document. I'm going to go to File, New. And most of the time I have things set on letter size. So I'm just going to stay with that. You see it's letter size here. And I'm going to jump down here to RGB. Now, and I normally don't do that, but I know that I just like that color scheme. It just depends on what I'm doing. But for print, you normally stay in CMYK, but I can go down to RGB because it's on monitor at this particular point in time. But I just leave it CMYK just to do what's right. Okay. And then now that you know you can change it, then you can do it in the way you want to. So I have my logo here, my page here, and I want to go up to Window, and I want to reset my workspace just in case I got something funky going on here. So I got Classic, Essentials Classic, and I want to reset that. So I want to just going to be the normal workspace you see if you open up Adobe Illustrator. So I have my palettes dock over here to the side. If I pull out this, I have my default colors, those type of things. Now, what I want to go to and look at is going to be my layers. It's right here. I'm going to click on my layers. I'm going to snatch this palette off because I want it over to the side. Now, my layers, I have just a layer one. In Illustrator, everything can be put on the same layer, build on top of the same layer. Photoshop, in order for you to do an action, you got to make a new layer. That's not the case with Illustrator. You drag, drop, you start doing it. It'll build 20 things, 30 things all on one layer. So here, I'm going to just name this layer as image. This is going to be the image that I bring in from my drawings that I have. And then I'm going to have another layer here, and I'm going to put work. This is going to be the layer I work on. Okay. I want to go back to this image layer here. I want to go to File and Place. And I have some sketches here. I'm going to go here, and I'm going to get this flame, this one of the sketches that I have, and I'm going to bring that in. Now I got this. I'm going to place it here. See, it's placing huge, right? Let's see if I can do it. Let's see if I can draw in place. File, place. I never tried. I do that in Illustrator, but I've never done it in here. So I'm going to see if I can draw it and place it. Yes, so you can draw the size you want instead of dropping and placing it. So there you go. So I have my file here, and I want to use this to create my logo. So on the image layer, I'm just going to go right here by the side. I'm going to lock this layer. So now this is not going to move. Then I'm going to click on my work layer, okay? And I'm going to draw around this work layer. Now, what I want to do on this work layer here is I see that I have a circle, some flames and strokes in here. So I see I have that, and I want to keep that kind of consistent, okay? So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to this layer and make a grid, turn my grids on just so I can say I have grids on here, but I want to be able to, cancel that. I want to be able to see some things here in the back here. Now, I also can use this as a guide, or I can use it as, I can trace it. I can use it actually as a guide. I can use it as reference. And I do that a lot of using things as reference. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do a guide. I really just need this flame. So here, I'm going to lock that. And I'm going to use this as a guide to get this flame. And then I will draw the circle with just a shape tool. So here I'm going to select the pen tool. Now when you start using the pen tool, you always need to remember that you don't want it to be filled, okay, like that. You don't want that. You want to be using a stroke. So right here at the bottom, see my mouse here. This is a fill. The white background is a fill. I don't want anything in there. So I'm going to go up here and just hit that. Now you can see it up here too. This is a fill. This is a stroke. This is what I want to use is the stroke. And I'm just going to hit a red color so you can actually see the stroke happening, okay? So I'm going to make a point. I'm going to drop my mouse down here. And before I let go, I'm going to hold it because I'm making a curve. It's called a Bezier curve, okay? Now, because I got that little extending curve there, it's going to make me another curve if I pull around here. So I'm clicking. Go there, come up, some put a point about right there, and I'll pull that curve down. Okay. I can leave that about where it is, but I'm going to hold down the Option key here because I want to bring this handle down some. That way I can get my curve about there. Uh-oh. Cancel. I'm using my Wacom tablet, so I accidentally pushed the mouse key on there. So I'm just taking my time going around my curve. I'm going to bring this out just a bit so I can have me another point. About here. And I can go back and move these points later if I want to. I'm holding down the Option key. Up here. Pulling my curve there. Bringing this down. Yeah, I'm going to move these points. I'm going to move these points later. Okay. Now, if I don't want this to be so long, I can just hold down the Option key and click. And I was holding down the Option key and dragging the direction line back. But this time I'm holding the Option key down and clicking. So bring that here. There. Maybe right here, pull down. Click here, pull down. I'm gonna get this sharp point here. Okay. I'm gonna go back here, pull down. I'm going all the way up. So pull down. I'm probably gonna end up moving that point too as well. Option key to bring that curve in a little bit there. I'm clicking, and before I let go, I'm pulling so I can manipulate my curve. Okay, clicking back because I want the point. Come here. Come about here, pull. I definitely have to move that other point there now. Pull here. And if I have to add more points, I can do that as well. Clicking here, pulling the way up to get that curve. It's a really sharp point there. I'm going to stop that because it's a sharp point. So I'm going to bring that down a little bit more. Curve. I brought that too close. I'm glad I did that because that way I can go back and show you how I can fix it. There. Go a curve here. And back to my starting point. And I'm going to pull there. Okay. So if I go and I turn my image off, you'll see my rough sketch here. Turn my image back on. Well, I'm going to turn the image off so I can I basically got the idea. Or I can just move this over to the side. Got the image on. Take my move tool and move this over to the side. So I can see that there. Yeah, I'm going to move the sketch too. Move it over just a bit so I can see it on the white. Alright, so here, zoom in there. I got some points. And I'm going to change this because red. I picked red and realized that I was on a red layer. So let me pick, let me just change the layer color. How about that? Be easier. So let's go with a dark green. There we go. So I got the green. And the reason why I'm doing this is because when I select this, I want you to be able to see the points. And it's really going to be hard for you to see the points if they're red. Okay, so you see these points here. This is where I clicked the direct selection tool. I'm gonna undo that. Click off here. So I have my selection. Zoom in there. Zoom out, I'm sorry. And I can click here. Click the direct selection tool because that means I'm going to manipulate these points. And I want to zoom in to see which point I'm going to manipulate. So I can take this point, see I kind of went to an angle there. That needs to be that curve needs to be fixed. That point doesn't need to be in there. So let's see. Bring that curve out. Let's go about here. But let's make that a little bit more curvature. That's what we want to do. We want more of a curve. And to do that, I have to fix the curve that I have. Now, I actually may end up going another route too, because I'm looking at what I could do with this and the ellipse tool there. So let's see. So I had a wonky point there that I deleted with the delete anchor point tool. And so I'm going back and fixing the curves based off that. So that curve there, and let's see if I can pull this curve here. So I should have had a directional line here. That's kind of wonky there. Let me go back and see. I must have ended up deleting the directional line instead of a point by mistake. You see, I can go back. You have a lot of go backs in Illustrator, about 200. So I hadn't gotten that far along to cause some problems yet. So let me go back here and see where my alleged directional line went. Okay, so this is the one that I got rid of. I don't know how I got rid of it, but I want to keep that one. Okay, I think I know where I got rid of it at. So this needs to go. That is right. And I had something else in here. I think once I let that go, it took away the... Yeah, I'm going to leave that like that. Yeah. And I'll do a simplified point on it to make it better. Let's click off of that and see what we got over here on the white. And you also, now I just got this as a stroke, as a fill. I can select it and then fill it, just swapping the stroke back so I can see what I'm working with. Okay, so I just want to work with the stroke here. So I want to clean up this path here. Get the direct selection tool. Click in there. And I'm going to clean those things up. So all you're doing is using the direct selection tool to kind of clean up those points. Same thing here. Now, yeah, okay, so this one. Now I can actually get rid of this direction line by bringing it all the way up, and now it's gone. So I have just the top directional line to work with here. This one right here. And it's just going to go on and work with that particular point. Now this one, I still have this directional line to work with these 2 points within here. But if I feel like this point is unnecessary, I can use my delete anchor point tool and just use the points from there, and then use the directional line. I should have directional line here, right there, to make that curve work. And just pulling it straight up to manipulate that curve. This one I'm going to pull down and out. Okay. So I'm going to clean this up and do another fill to show you how that works.